Welcome to this workshop, 3 strategies to get focused at work. We're going to get started in, let's say about 90 seconds. We'll give everyone a minute or so grace period. I welcome everyone. If you've been to a cave before, if you've been to any Caveday workshops, we ask you to update your Zoom name with your location. I'll put in the chat how you can do that. You can just go to the upper right corner of your screen, your little 3-dot button, click that, click rename, and we'll share where we are. Thanks for doing that, Heather and Rachel and Sam. Nice to see everyone here. Welcome Lisa and Rachel and Heather. Hi, Channing and Sam and Layla. Welcome Naomi. We're gonna get started in just about a little less than a minute. Thanks for being my favorite group of people, the on-time group. About another 30, 40 seconds. So you can update your Zoom name with your location. Hello, everyone. Welcome everyone. Let's get this workshop started, shall we? Great to see you all. I'm Jake. I'm one of the Caveday co-founders. I've been working with my co-facilitator here, Kate. We've been working with teams to help them focus. And in case you don't know Caveday or anything, you just sort of heard about this through a friend. Caveday is a company that leads the most focused community. We have representation in over 50 countries. We've led over 50,000 hours of facilitated deep work. And we've learned a few things over the last 6.5 years about how people work. We've learned that while some people think that Caveday and deep work and facilitated time for work is just for remote workers or just for freelancers or just for entrepreneurs, that we've actually learned that the principles that we teach work just as equally as well inside an office as part of a team culture as it does for someone working individually. So I want to share these 3 strategies with you. This workshop is going to be a little different than maybe another workshop that you've been to before, which is that basically we're going to learn some things, we're going to get some stuff done, and then I'm going to leave you with some takeaways. So hopefully you brought some work to get done, because that's a really fun part of getting to do our work here. So let's jump in, talking about working smarter for you and your team. Now, I don't even know what you all do. Like, I know that we all work. And when I say work, it means a lot of different things, because a lot of us have things to do, like, repetitive tasks that we have to get done. Some of us have to be creative and make things and write and design. I think part of a lot of our work is organizing and cleaning up messes, both metaphorical and literal. We also have to be in meetings and talk to clients and coworkers. And this is part of my work. It might just as well be part of yours, which is presenting. And we're going to talk a little bit about remote work as well. I introduced myself here to say that before Caveday, I was a freelance designer, and I found myself about 6.5 years ago working in this office. And my favorite joke here is that, like, I had a desk here, but I never worked here. Like, I could not get anything done. And I think that feels relatively common, that work is a place where we have to be, or we're supposed to get things done, but it's often a place that distracts us a lot for a lot of different reasons. And for me personally, it was a really frustrating experience, because I know that I can get things done. I know that I'm a productive person usually. The same summer that I was here and super distracted all the time, I was the most productive I've ever been in a side project that I took on. I wanted to get back into painting, and I did a 100-day project. So you do the same thing every day for 100 days. I chose, album covers, my favorite album covers, and I painted them the size of Post-it notes, 3-inch by 3-inch paintings. And here at the end of the summer, I have 100 paintings, which, like, is prolific, right? That I'm able to focus and get things done. And I started to ask myself this question: how do you get stuff done? And maybe some of you who have been to a workshop before with me know that I ask this. The rest of the workshop is a little bit different and new. But up until this point, how do you get things done? I started asking myself, and I'm going to ask you, today's Thursday. If I said, you got a week, right? Next Friday of a deadline, big project, how would you get things done? Because I'll wait for those to come in the chat, but I started asking myself, I was like, okay, so there was something about the 100-day project. There was like clarity, there's like structure, there was some fun to it. What would you say is a way that you get stuff done? Anyone having trouble in the chat? There we go. Thanks, Kate. Master procrastinator, right? Wait till the last minute. You close Slack, you remove distractions. Sure. Tony, I'm a list maker too. Clear off your desk and your desktop, right? Like remove all the distractions, define the deliverable. We're going to talk a lot today about defining things, making lists, setting alarms, scheduling time, set a timer. Yeah, thanks. Thanks. Now they're all coming in. I love it. Binaural beats, which is the music that helps people focus, get up early and do the work before the meeting start. Yeah, it's a great point, Naomi, that like when we need to do focused work, sometimes during the workday is when it's the most distracting. And so getting up early, staying up late. Yeah. Tony's a little bit of a brown noser, right? Caveday. Yeah, Caveday work. And Cassie too. Cool. Well, a couple years ago, I had this question I started asking a lot of people. And as you can see here, what was really interesting as I started asking my friends and the people around me and my colleagues is that everyone had a different answer. Everyone works in a different way. And it led me to this insight that basically nobody taught us how to work. We were realizing that we all were just sort of figuring it out on the fly as we were going. We all come into work with a different understanding of like how work is supposed to be. And that leads us to pick up some really bad habits. And I say bad, meaning like unhealthy, unsustainable, unproductive, right? Like they're just what we've known to do because nobody ever taught us. So like I said before, we're waking up early, we're staying up late. That gets in the way of like good sleep. We're catching up on our work at night and on the weekends because we're busy in meetings all day. We push our brains to the limit. We sacrifice sleep in our other relationships. Anyone have desk lunches regularly and other forms of unproductive multitasking that feel really productive? I know at home, boundaries are blurred between work life and home life. I'm a parent myself. And so like, I'm trying to get as much done as I can in as little time as I have. I get that. And whether you're at home or in an office, people hijack your time, right? They stop by your desk, they send you a Slack message or an email, you get a text message, your kids' school calls, whatever. There are people and things that hijack our time. And what we wanted to do when we started Caveday was create a process and a space and a structure to optimize for focused work. A Caveday used to be a full day of deep work, distraction-free, and now we lead sessions online in as short as 1 hour. And our whole idea is not necessarily to say like, be as productive as you can be, because productivity comes with like hustle culture and like unsustainable burnout, pushing us to our limit. And so instead of thinking about like, get all your stuff done, we say, we're trying to improve your relationship to work. And this idea of a relationship to work is about this give and take, right? I'm giving my time and energy and skills and experience and getting things back in return. I'm getting my time off. I'm getting salary, health benefits. Maybe part of my identity is wrapped up in work. And usually with any good relationship, those are in balance. I'm giving as much as I'm getting, or maybe sometimes I'm giving a lot, but then I get a vacation, or I get to turn off on the weekends, or some kinds of balance. And this idea of relationships comes as one of three in our lives. That the idea of improving your relationship to work is also about saying, when you get your stuff done, these relationships to other people and to yourself are actually integrated. That by getting my work done, by feeling more accomplished every day, I spend more time with my family and my friends, and I get to take care of myself and have a good night's sleep and not feel stressed. And that helps my work. And so this idea of productivity is not about hustle, 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 just get all your to-dos done and more. It's about getting your most important work done so that you can have a better life. And we know that like this is kind of idealized, because what ends up happening is that there are three, what we call the three insidious forces that affect all of our relationships. They boil down to our upbringing, our culture, and our brain. And we know that like none of these are inherently bad, right? There are plenty of amazing things that our upbringing gave us and taught us about work and about relationships, things that our culture supports and things that our brain makes possible. But in order to do the work that we came to do, to help you with these strategies for focus, we do have to acknowledge that some of these things get in the way. So regarding your upbringing, all of us learned about work long before we stepped into an office or ever got our first paycheck, right? We figure out how to work from somewhere, from someone. And I wish we had like 2 hours, we could do more activities to, journal and write out. But I want you for a minute to just think about like, what was work like when you grew up? What did you notice about your parents, your caretakers, your teachers, your coaches, maybe even your first job or your jobs in high school and college and early jobs? What did that teach you about things like hard work, or how much you're supposed to work, or what a good boss is, or what a good employee is, right? That affects how we show up every day. Our culture plays a big role in creating what we're supposed to value and strive towards. And without getting into a whole deep history lesson, a lot of this starts with the Industrial Revolution. In the late 1700s to the mid 1800s, machines are introduced to work and mass production. And in the factory, it's like more hours worked means more work output, right? Like if you put in more hours, you could, make more widgets. And so if we spent more time there, you make more product, you make more money. So machines and time machines made it so that we could optimize our time, right? We seek to achieve more by pushing our time and our energy to get more out of every little moment that we have, trying to achieve more in less time. And everything becomes about optimization. We often see ourselves that way, that most of us work like this, whether we think about it or not, that we try to see ourselves in the same way. We can work like machines. I'm going to wake up and have this sustained high level of energy, and then I'm going to go to sleep. And it's obvious to say that work has changed. We don't work in factories. Most of us are knowledge workers, right? We don't produce widgets as much as we produce ideas and strategies and systems. It's a lot more abstract. And in that way, like more hours doesn't always mean more output, or at least more quality output. You know that if you have to be creative or come up with a great solution to a problem, that the end of a 14-hour workday is probably not your best time to do that. Or reading a presentation to, look for mistakes and typos and stuff after an all-nighter, or after you've, been up all night with your kids, is probably not going to be your best. Your brain doesn't work 100% all the time. And so what happens, the third option is brain. We're going to get to that in a second. So we're at odds with two conflicting needs. Our brains and body need rest. We all know that. But our cultural values and our social scripts say that you got to work like a machine. You got to keep optimizing. Don't waste time. And so when we feel tired, we feel like something's wrong with us. And so we deal with that by over caffeinating and skipping meals and skipping our social engagements and skipping exercise and limiting our sleep and prioritizing our work, because something is wrong with us if everyone else is managing to continue to work and we're tired. And the third thing that gets in the way is our brain. Our brains, sure, are amazing. We can, see and interpret senses and learn languages. But on the other hand, our brain at its core wants to seek out pleasure, to avoid pain, to do the easy thing, to avoid the hard thing, right? And when we work from home or an office, really, wherever we work, work is the hard thing. And the easy thing are the distractions and the temptations around us: the couch, the refrigerator, the TV, the snack, the kitchen, the coffee, a social connection, Facebook, sure. And in that way, our brains think. They're not great at motivating us to do challenging tasks. They're easily distracted, specifically our phones, right? And it might not be mind-blowing to share that our technology is designed to take advantage of that primal part of our brain. It wants to distract us. It wants to take our focus. And when you look at this data, it's actually old data, pre-pandemic data. New data shows that the average person unlocks their screen about 150 times a day. Let's do some quick math. You're up for, I don't know, 17 hours, 16 hours. And that means you're checking your phone about every 5-ish minutes. And look, I don't think that surprises any of us. We check our phones a lot, but it affects how we work. Microsoft did a parallel study that showed that the average focus time at work is about 8 seconds. And look, that's not just the people coming to our desk to hijack our time and Slack messages and all the distractions, but it's our own brain saying, hey, this is hard. I want to do something easy. So I sit down to write an email and I'm struggling with, like, I don't know what to write. This is really hard. I have to really like nail this. And so, you know what, let me just open up a Google Doc. I got to make some edits in that thing. And let me just open up my email really quick. And oh, you know, yesterday was the 15th of the month. Let me go check my bank account, make sure my paycheck went in. And let's assume it did. And now I have some money in my account. Let me go buy that thing I was going to go buy on Amazon. And I'm like buying groceries and toilet paper instead of like writing this email that was my work. And that's the way most of us spend our days getting things done. This is what we call shallow work. It fragments our attention span among a lot of different tabs we have open, the apps we have open, the notifications that keep popping up, the to-do lists that are in our head, written down on our computers. And if you think about the things that you want to accomplish in your career, let's just think like 20 years from now, what do you want to do? You want to maybe, I don't know, write a book, start a company, grow your team, launch a new product, start a podcast, record an album, paint a masterpiece, whatever it might be. It's not going to get done in 8 seconds at a time. And so what happens is the way that we actually get our things done is with shallow work, right? This is our foundation for getting things done. And so when we try to put our most important work, that thing that you want to do 20 years from now, you want to have done, when we put that on, and we start to add things like our own personal issues and our own relationships, and we add on things like money and deadlines and meetings and shiny objects and Facebook and social media and all kinds of other things, and throw in a pandemic for good measure, it leads to a feeling that a lot of us are feeling right now, like instability, uncertainty, overwhelm, drowning, and ultimately burnout. And so my question to you is, could you work like that for the next 30 years? How about the next 5 years, the way that things are going right now? Probably not. I know that I couldn't. When I left my corporate job, I didn't know how to fix it. And with Caveday, we've created a solution that might help. And that's why we're here today. Your relationship with work is not your fault. You're a product of your history, your upbringing. You're massively influenced by our culture, society, and the technology around you. And in some ways, your brain is holding you back, right? It's more prone to these distractions that are designed to take advantage. But we can learn to rewire our brain. We can call out social scripts and articulate some new ones for ourselves. You know, what is success? What does hard work mean? Why is it important for me to take a break? And we can work through our own upbringing and find new role models to work. And that's essentially what we're doing at Caveday. We're saying that our relationship to work, because our relationship to work is dysfunctional, largely because it's predicated on shallowness, right? Like no good relationship can survive on being shallow. So that thing you want to have done in 20 years requires a different way of working. And this is where we introduce deep work. We all know we have to do a little bit deeper work. And deep work here is defined as focus without distraction on a demanding task. Maybe this is not new for some of you if you've read an article about it, or Cal Newport, who wrote a book called Deep Work, introduces this idea with this definition. And it's not just that it becomes the foundation of our work, not just here and there, but it becomes a habit. It becomes something that we can do regularly. And it starts with three simple ideas. We're going to do these three simple ideas together. We're going to do some deep work, go into the cave, and then we'll come back and get our takeaways. And the three things that we do together are, first, focus. Remove all of your distractions. Turn on do not disturb mode. If you have your phone next to you, in front of you, which, look, I do too, I'm going to throw it across the room on a chair, get it out of reach, out of sight, so that when your brain gets that like hit of, hey, this is really hard, it's not going to like find the easy thing right in front of you. I want you to sit with the challenging work that we're about to do. The next thing that I want you to do is define what you're working on, right? One thing that you're going to do. And why don't you just put it in the chat? What are you working on right now? I'm going to just write your one thing in the chat. I'm doing a quick RFP. Project plan, filling a pipeline, shout out process, matrix, newsletter, weekly newsletter. Great. And the invitation is to monotask. We make these day planners to say, what's the one thing that you need to get done? Monotask on that thing, because most of us believe that our brain works like this. Like, I'm just going to focus on that task. And you know what? It's okay. I'm going to check Instagram. I'm going to check my email. I'm going to check Slack for 5 minutes, and I'll just get back on task. But the science behind this shows that it actually takes 23 minutes and 15 seconds on average to get back to that same level of deep focus. So I'm going to invite you to just monotask, one thing at a time. We'll have time for break after this. And the third is time. To set a period of time to go into the cave. We're going to go in for about 20 to 25 minutes right now. I'm not going to tell you exactly how long. I want you to lose track of time and just find yourself immersed in your work. And what helps when you think about time is to create a bookend. And what helps bookend our time is a ritual. The University of Toronto found that doing a ritual reduces anxiety and it regulates the brain's response to failure. So what we do before and after our deep work session are a little ritual. So let's do it together right now. We're going to rub our hands together. And on the count of three, we're going to clap. And this is our little ritual to start our deep work session. Again, 20 to 25 minutes, I'll ding a bell and we'll come back for our 3 strategies and takeaways. All right. Monotask on this thing, jumping into the cave in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. All right, friends, that's the end of our cave. It's about to close. Take just a minute to leave yourself a little bookmark or something, like a little note for yourself. How are you going to pick that work up again? I know it's tempting to want to keep going. And I think the idea here is to just see how much you can actually get done in 20 minutes. Let's do a quick stretch together. We stretch at the end of every cave. That's our closing ritual. We do this and one more thing, which we'll do in a second. So clasp your hands, reach up, just look up at your hands, see how that feels. You sit in one place and monotask for a long time. And the reason that we stretch to keep the oxygen going through our body, to keep our muscles relaxed and loose. It helps our focus, and then we take breaks. I'll give you a moment to take a break once we're all done. But our other ritual is to share a win. At the end of every cave, we like to share some incremental progress. What it does is it helps rewire our brain. So while our brain right now is looking for dopamine, and we usually find it in social media and the news and just unlocking our phones, we can actually get that same hit of feel good neurochemicals by sharing a win in the chat. So what did you get done? I finished 2 pages of my RFP. How about you? I'm not done, lots more to do, but feels good to make some progress. All right, you pivoted. Nice job, Alice. Worked on managing your next vacation guest. Nice job, Tony. Made progress in your email. Way to go, Isabel. Me. Cleaned your apartment. That's great. Created a spreadsheet, worked on the local Yelp. Naomi weekly newsletter completely done. Kate scheduled the day. Give me a high five. Like, that's great. 3, 2, 1. Amazing. I want to cheer you on and help you feel good about that. Let's give you your 3 strategies here. So what we're trying to do is get away from this way of working that's unbalanced, it's shaky and volatile, the kind of work that is burning us out and feels overwhelming. That feeling of like, it's 5 o'clock, I've been busy all day, but I didn't get any real work done. So now I got to catch up at night and on the weekend. And instead, try to build in deep work as a habit, but not just once, but to build it as a habit, to chip away at our most important work a little bit at a time. And once it's a habit, we can feel better about our commitments and our output. It doesn't have to be all day, every day, but maybe we can do 20 minutes every day and feel good about chipping away at our most important work, maybe an hour a day. Or maybe some days you can block out a whole morning, 2 or 3 hours to like monotask on your most important work. And that's where we can help. 3 strategies to get focused at work, AKA your first real lesson in how to work. If nobody ever taught us how to work, I'm trying here. The first is focus, right? Focus together. Being a hard worker or a team player, like those are the things that we want to be at work in an environment of an office, of a team. But those qualities, when they're not clear, can mean that you always have to be online. You always have to be available to respond to requests immediately. Your calendar is always open for anyone to book. And that's really terrible for prioritizing our work. Like your work is not Slack. Your work is not email. Oh, sorry, I'm presenting and now you see that? Yes, okay, great. So 3 strategies, all you missed is turning shallow work into a habit of deep work, and that's 3 strategies. So the idea is to focus together, is to say, I need my colleagues to do this together so that I don't have to be in the cave feeling like I'm escaping them, because the cave is not a place to hide from other people. You're not avoiding your colleagues, your teammates, your manager. It's a place where maybe unlike a general office, the rules are clear. I'm here to do deep work. We're not doing anything else. I'm monotasking, right? Focused without distraction on a demanding task. So I think for some people, going into the cave might be something that they're ashamed or afraid to admit. Like, I need help. I'm going to the cave. I'm trying to get out of work. But I think the idea of doing this collaboratively, of inviting a coworker into the cave with you is helpful in thinking about, hey, we're doing this together to be clear on the rules. And I think for some people, um, you know, the best way to think about this is like a workout, right? A lot of us want to work out by ourselves, but we know that when we work out with a running buddy, with a trainer, when we show up at a gym versus in our own, kitchen or wherever you're doing your home exercises, that we do better work. We're staying for a little bit longer. We're pushing ourselves a little bit harder, and that helps. That that adds up over time. And so the idea is to turn on do not disturb together. Decide that, like, we're going to go into the cave for 30 minutes. Let's jump into a cave. We're going to turn off Slack for 30 minutes, for an hour, whatever. And trust us that there's very little that's super urgent. And if there is something that's urgent, make sure that your team has your phone number, and create a setting so that that your colleagues can alert you, when you're in the cave if you need to. So that's the first strategy, focus. The second is to define what and where we're working. First, it's not always clear what we're working on. And when it's not clear, we procrastinate. It's sort of like, I know I have to get that presentation done. I know I have to do that newsletter. But when it's super clear, when it's like, I need to monotask on the task, right? I'm not just working on the presentation or just the newsletter. Like, I'm trying to, finish slides 1 through 3. I'm trying to outline the newsletter. I'm trying to add images. What's the task specifically? And the better that we can get at breaking down big projects into tasks, it's easier to monotask. It's easier to break that down and say, oh, I could do that in 20 minutes, in 30 minutes, in an hour, and not think, oh, I'm never going to get this presentation done in a cave, but thinking about breaking it down into little tasks. And then where is important too. In an office, I think my experience is that workspace, like focused workspace, blurs with social space. People come up to my desk. We're trying to work in communal spaces where people are hanging out and having coffee and taking phone calls. And when we need to get our work done, we need a quiet space. So what we can do, maybe with the buy-in of a manager or as a team, is to define a space and a time for cave time. Maybe this conference room becomes a cave, or 2 to 4 p.m. is quiet hours or something. I think the more that you're doing this with other people, the more it feels like, oh, we're creating these rules together. It's something that we talk a lot about in our core skills program, this idea of team agreements help us work better together. And when we say, these are the rules, this helps. This helps all of us when we have quiet hours, when we have cave time, however you want to do it. When the expectations are clear, we can protect our focus and actually get our work done. And the third strategy is to time box. If you've never heard that as a verb, time box is the idea of aligning your task with a time. It's sort of like having a meeting with that work. It's like putting it on your calendar. At 2 o'clock, I'm going to, outline my newsletter. At 3 o'clock, I'm going to add images. It's clear when it's going to happen. And I want to remind you that not all tasks need deep work. You can't always be doing deep work. I'm not here to recommend that your 8-hour workday or however long you work should be deep work. We all have other work that we need to get done. Sometimes our work requires our phone or to go on social media. Sometimes, admin work and scheduling and presenting and bookkeeping and some of these like lesser demanding, like mentally demanding work might require that, like, we don't need deep work. I don't need a cave to check my email. Sometimes I do when I need to like clear out my inbox and just like power through. But in general, like, not all my work needs to be cave time. Not all my work needs to be deep work. It's just like the most important thing today might require a cave. Again, like 1 hour of deep focus time. And chances are you have at least one thing every day that could benefit from focused work without any distractions. Our schedule looks like this. We offer 80 caves a week, more than 120 hours of facilitated deep work. every week, and you can join pretty much every hour. This is what it looks like on East Coast time. And I'm not supposed to say this, but like, we start on time, and if you have to leave early, go. Like, getting your butt in the chair at 9:30 because you signed up for the cave, that's helpful for a lot of people. And I get this question a lot: when should you come to the cave? Well, you can come whenever, but you can use it more strategically. If we go back to this idea of like, this is how it seems like we're supposed to work, the reality is actually a little different. Some of us are morning larks. We have a peak and a dip and a rebound. We have a peak time when our mental capacity is at its best, high energy, best mood. And I can take advantage of that by going into the cave in the morning if I'm this kind of person. Like, I'm thinking at my clearest, I want to block out all distractions and get my best thinking done in the cave. Equally important, if you had a bad day today, or if you're struggling in the afternoon during that 3 p.m. burrito nap feeling, go into the cave for accountability. Like, I just need to get my self-focus and going into the cave during that dip. Some people are like this, the morning lark. Other people are like this, the night owl. You have a little bit of a rebound after you wake up. Your dip is in the morning, lunchtime, late afternoon, and then you have this peak late into the evening. And some of us are third birds. You think a lark, an owl, and a third bird. This is Daniel Pink from the book When. But think about when you're the most focused or when you're the most tired, and use that to your advantage to know when you should go into the cave. Again, a cave is just like this. We meet on Zoom, 1 hour and 3 hour sessions. And these are the 3 strategies to help you get focused. Start with focus, get undistracted is basically the idea. Define is to get clear, and time is to get ready and then go. And so the half here, the third and a half strategy is we're offering a free month of unlimited membership. We just strongly believe that Caveday is such an important tool, not just, again, for freelancers and entrepreneurs and people that have full control of their time, but it's also something that we see that integrates into the way that we work in an office. An hour a day. For a lot of our people, for a lot of our members that have memberships and jobs, sometimes their work pays for it. It's not unreasonable to think that your work, if you have some kind of education budget or some kind of work from home stipend, that it could easily be applied to Caveday. And not only the focus sessions, but when you come to the cave and become a member, we have obviously the caves, but we also have lots of on-demand content, planning, live and on-demand planning workshops to help you plan your week, help you plan your month. We have a monthly accountability group if you need an especially challenging month to push yourself a little further. We have a free accountability group for members, and lots of social connection, people to meet in the forum. So again, a free month of unlimited membership at caveday.org/free trial. And you can also hire us. We do workshops and private caves for teams that need a little bit more structure or teaching or guidance in some of the strategies and research that we've done. So in summary, I like this analogy of the cave, because for hundreds of thousands of years, humans have gone into the cave to shut out the distractions of the world and do their best work. And so whatever kind of work you're doing, my hope today is that you now know how to do it in a cave. Silly, any questions? And yeah, you can always reach out, jake@caveday.org. I'm going to put up that one more time. And if you have questions, great. If you don't, you have 3 minutes back of your day. Go take a break, stretch, walk around. A lot of us are back to back. I hope to see you all in the cave soon. I'll put that actually here in the chat. If you want to just a quick click. All right, looks like people are leaving. Thanks so much, everyone. We'll follow up with an email with that link and the recording in case you missed it or want to go back to something. Bye, everyone.